Yep, good evening everyone. So yesterday we learned all queries, how to handle them. Next, after understanding queries, so we learned creating table and querying the tables. Now, how we can update, delete other operations on tables. So database contains different types of objects. On that we are still working on tables. What objects contains? Database contains what type of objects? Tables, views, right? Here we don't have, but actually it contains forms, stored procedures we will have here, triggers, all those. So today we will see how you can modify the data. That means updating. So updating table data. So updating the table data, how we can do that. So SQL commands language is classified into three. Na? What are those? Data manipulation, data definition, another one, data control. So data definition related, all you have learned how to handle. Queries, now we will see update, how we can manage this. Usually two types of concepts are there. You can modify the structure of data table. You can modify the structure and you can modify the data. If you are modifying the data, then it is called updating. If you are modifying the structure, then it is called altering. We have two options. So SQL provides update command to modify table data. To modify table data, it provides update command. It provides update command to modify the data. Actually, first, in order to modify the data, you need to find the data. So we need to first find the data, then we can modify the data. So you want to modify any record, then first you must find that record. How to find? To find, we learned query. And in the query, select query is nothing but it is returning it. But finding is done by whom? Select is returning it. Finding is done by where. So where is finding the record? Select is selecting and showing. Who is finding? Finding is done by where. So you need a command to find the data. Then you can bring it and update. So to update any value, you have to find the value using where. Using where command. So you can use all comparison and logical operators to find the data. You can use all comparison and logical operators to find the data. So update command requires a where command so that it can find the record. After finding, updating new data into existing field is done by set. So it is done by set command. Updating new data into existing field is done by set. So action is defined by update. Finding is done by where, and adding new data is done by set, right? So update is action. Update is action, and where is query to find. Just roughly I'm giving, and set, this is to assign new value. Update is an action. Where is the query to find, and set is to assign a new value. So actually in MySQL, for security reasons, MySQL have safe mode on. So MySQL have a safe mode on. If safe mode is on, then it will not allow to update as you want it, as you like. You have to strictly update only based on primary key field. That means to update any record, first we are saying that find the record. Find the record means I want to find the record based on price, and I want to update its rating. It's not possible. Why? Because default MySQL have a safe mode on. When safe mode is on, you can always update only by using primary key. That means you have to find only by primary key. Primary key means which field you given as primary key. You have to find using primary key only. You have to find using primary key only. You cannot find using other. So here, I will show you the concept here. So what is the point here is MySQL safe mode. MySQL safe mode is default set to on. So it is a secured mode. It is a secured mode that allows to update the field, update the data only by using primary key field. Only by using primary key field. It is a secured mode that allows to update the data only by using primary key field. So MySQL have a safe mode, and default the safe mode is on. When the safe mode is on, it will not allow to update as you like. You have to follow certain rules, and using that you have to update. So later you will learn stored procedures. When we learn stored procedures, triggers, we can write a query and run it. It will update whatever we want one by one. Initially, single query, how we do, we'll see that. So what is the meaning of this is, so usually we have to use the syntax like this: update, table name, set field name is equal to new value. So where primary key field is matching value. Primary key field is matching with the value. Is matching with the value. So update table name and set the field name and value you want. You can update multiple fields. So you can update multiple fields using comma delimiter. You can update multiple fields using comma delimiter. Field name equal to value, another comma, another field name equal to another value. You can update multiple fields. Right. So this is the first basic how we can update the data. Actually, let's open MySQL. So here I want to modify, yeah, I want to modify the name. Okay, I want to modify any product name. I want to modify the product name. Let me delete this one. Okay. So I want to modify the product name. Suppose I want to change the TV name, and I want to set the quantity as some 3. I want to change price we want to modify some details. Then what we do here, we need to write the query. So update TBL products. What is that set? Set what? Field name is equal to what? Some Samsung TV. That is the name. And I want quantity is equal to how much? Some 3. Quantity is 3. Just only 2 I am changing. You can change all. Right? So where product ID, where product ID is matching with how much? 1. The product ID is matching with 1. That's the option we are using. So this is to update. So the update query executes successfully, and we will select. So when we select, and you see it is modified, we can change the name and the quantity of that particular matching one. Now what I want is I want to change the quantity of mobile. And actually its primary key is 3. Its primary key is 3. Then what we are doing here, wherever we are using the update command, so set, I will put quantity is how much? 3. How much we want to set? For mobile quantity I want to set 2. So then I will use quantity is how much? 2. Where I am not using product ID, I am using where name. So name is equal to, what is it? So name is what? Mobile. I am searching for mobile. That means we are updating based on the mobile. And here you can see it shows an error. And what is the error? You can see error code is 1155, and you are using safe update mode. And you try to update. So, and you try to update so much. You see, update table without using a key column. Without using a key column. So, without using a key column, you cannot update. Based on any column, if you want to update, you need to turn off the safe mode. So turning off safe mode is not good, but if you want to turn off the safe mode, you have to actually use the command. So you need to use the command. What you have to do is, so we have to use set, we have to use an MySQL. So we have an MySQL safe mode, and you need to set safe mode to 1. So that is actually true. You have to set it to 0. 0 is what? False. And after that, you have to, after setting this, you have to restart your MySQL workbench. Sometimes you need to restart the server. Server means in services. You will have a server. Then you can run this command successfully. So I will just keep it. Later I will show because I need to restart everything, right? You can try yourself. You can restart the server, restart this, and it will do. Just a concept I will show. Later I will show you restarting also. So initially, why it is unable to do? That means you have to change, right? Actually, they have a direct option is there. disable safe mode, toggle option in preferences, right? In SQL editor. So preferences, actually settings, you will find settings. In the settings you can modify. Usually you see configuration settings will be there. In the settings you can go there and you can modify. So but better you can use the command. So you can modify using the command also. Just a concept I will give here. What is it? So you need to set the primary key field. First syntax example is this one. Uh, Previous example I will give. This example we will do after modification. This is before modification. This is the command. Okay. This is example. That is the example. So you can set safe update mode to false in order to enable update without a key field. Without a key field. So set SQL safe updates actually. SQL safe updates, you need to set it to 0. Actually, directly in settings of MySQL also you can change in preferences in the configuration. Set SQL safe updates to 0. Actually, one is true and 0 is false. So here set SQL safe updates is equal to how much? 0. SQL safe updates to 0. So it is set to 0. After safe updates is 0, suppose I am using the command update TBL products and the table set. Set what? Quantity. Quantity is how much? 2. Where the table. So where name is equal to what? Mobile. Like this, the query is defined here. And you see now it is there. update based on mobile. Now here I run this and see, and it is mobile changed to 2. The quantity is changed for mobile to 2. That is possible only after turning on the safe updates. So now you can update on any field. Suppose all electronic products, I want quantity as 2 or 3. Then if I am writing like this, where is it? Update set quantity 3 for where this time I need to define category where category is equal to what is it? Electronics. That means you can see 2 rows affected, 3 rows matched, 3 rows matched and 2 changed because already one is having 3. That means it is going to select the rows and it is going to set all electronics to 3. Wherever electronics is there, it is set to 3. It can update multiple. That you can update by using this technique. This is the technique. So to perform those type of updates, you need to turn off safe updates. And this is example for that. This is valid only when safe mode is off. When safe mode is off. Here you can use all the conditions. All the conditions as you learned the conditions. Suppose we have a query like update rating as update rating to 4 for electronic products whose will say price is above 40,000. Update rating to 4 for electronic products whose price is above 40,000. How do you do? Write the query and show me. Update rating to 4 for electronic products whose price is above 40,000. Already where query you know na? Same thing you have to implement. So where category is electronics and price is greater than 40,000. Same na, right? Yeah. Yep. So where category is electronics and price is this. This is same. So all the where queries, what you learned, you can implement here. But that's not possible when turn SQL safe updates are 1. You need to set it off and you need to update. Right. So this is updating the data. So we can update the data. Yeah. So we need to use update query in the same way. Same. What is that answer for this is update TBL products rating set rating is 4. So where what is it? So category is equal to electronics. Category is equal to electronics and price is greater than how much? 40. Can write like this. We can define the query in this way. So it will find and it will update. Generally, we always recommend to update using unique keys, using primary keys. But this situation also comes. But from client side, we cannot modify that in the server. Server should enable that facility, then only we can modify that. That's the reason in forms we will design in such a way that one record we will find and we will update the record and we will use the primary keys to update it. Okay. So that's okay. This is how we can modify. That is a simple approach of update. This is updating the table data. Now how we can update the table structure? How we can update the table structure? So next important is updating table structure. Updating table structure. Updating table structure. So alter my SQL provides alter command to modify and update structure of table and fields. Structure of table and fields. So SQL provides alter command to modify and update structure of table and fields. Actually, table structure includes adding fields, changing field name, removing field. So changing data type of field, etc. All these comes under that. adding fields, changing the field names, removing the fields, changing the data types. It also includes adding and removing constraints. It includes adding constraints, removing constraints. We can add constraints, we can remove constraints. We can do that by using this alter command. Let's see some options how we can do. So there are so many helper commands also for alter. Let's see how do we do that. So first one is, suppose field, adding a new field to table, adding a new field to table. Field is nothing but column, adding a new column to table. So alter requires add command to add a new field. So you have to use helper commands that specify where to add the field. What are helper commands? You can add after specific field or as first field. That is helper commands. When you are trying to add a field, it defines where to add the field, after specific field or as first field. So adding field name. So for example, let's take one simple table. I will create a new table. So create table TBL vendors. Just I will give the columns vendor ID. It is integer, not null primary key. So this is vendor name. Varchar something. That's enough. We have vendor ID, vendor name. You know already commands. To save time, I'm just using design from design. So we have vendors table is there. Now, if you want to know the structure, if you want to know the structure of any table, you can use the command describe. Describe and table name, TBL vendors. Describe command is used to get the table structure. If you want to get the table structure, then so we can just define describe and table name. It will get the table structure. Table structure is what is the field name, what is its type, is it nullable or not, is it primary key, is it default. These all details you can get. That means table structure, you can use it. So later I will give that command. So once you know it, suppose I want to add a field. So vendor, and here I want to add a field called some city. Vendor belongs to which city, right? Then how do we add a field? To add a field, we have to use what? Alter. Alter is the command. What is to alter? Table? Table name. Table name is what? TBL vendors. TBL vendors. Okay. Alter table vendors. What you want to do with this? So we want to add a new field. So I am using add. What to add? So field name. I want to add vendor city. Vendor city. And what is the data structure? Varchar is suppose 30. So we need to add vendor city. That means alter table, table name. Actually, alter is used to modify so many things. It can alter a constraint. It can alter a table. It can alter a procedure. We can modify so many database objects. So as of now, what is this TBL vendors? Table. That means we have to use what? Table. Alter table, table name. Because alter can alter so many things. It can alter a view. It can alter a procedure. So it can alter anything. So alter table and the table name. And add vendor city here. Where to add? I want to add that. So after vendor ID. After vendor ID. For example, if I'm adding this, you see it is added, and where it is added. So you open here, it is added as last item. By default, it is last. We want to add any specific. We want to add any specific. Then what you have to do? Suppose I will add one more. That is vendor rating, right? Then I am giving add vendor rating, and it is what type? Integer. Integer. So we will give after. After which field? After the field name. Field name is what? Vendor. Vendor name. After vendor name. I am adding like this. That means we can add first or we can add after. After. That means this time when we run this and see the table structure here, and you can see vendor rating is after vendor name. Otherwise, every new field will be added at the end. You can add before any specific as first also. So you can add as first. Remember, it's not necessary that first field must be primary key. Any field can be primary key. Orient, because see, while reading our wish, we can read only name and city. There is no necessity to read in the same order. So there is no order dependency in fields. But in the structure where you want to keep which one, so that you have to define by using this. So when you are adding, you can define this. So here, so alter requires alter command can alter a table, view, constraint, or any database object. To modify a table, it requires table command. It requires table command. So syntactically, alter table name, add field name, data type. You can define constraint also. Constraints. After first field name. If you don't define the helper command, then it adds new field as last field. New field as last field. Like this we can add. So you can view the table structure by using the describe command. Describe table name. So that is modifying the table. You can add any specific field. So for that you need add command. If you want to change the structure of any field, then how do we change the structure of any field? Structure of any field means nothing but suppose any field is nullable. You want to make it as not null. It is not null. You want to make it as nullable. Then how do we do? So then we have to use another technique for that. So what is it? Next one, this is adding a new field. Next, modifying the field structure. So you can modify existing field structure. So it requires alter to use modify command. It requires alter to use modify command. So you can modify the data type or constants. You can modify the data type or constants. So you cannot directly modify the foreign key constants. You cannot directly modify foreign key constants because for that we need foreign key constant name, because we added foreign key with a constant name. When we added foreign keys, you remember the command now? When we added the foreign key have a constant name. By using that constant name, you can modify. Directly, you cannot modify the foreign keys. So that means while adding foreign keys, we already learned. So what we done? While adding the foreign key, we use constant and constant name. Constant name we use. Based on that, we can modify that. Directly, foreign key constants cannot be modified. We cannot modify. So here, how do we modify the structure? Suppose describe TBL products. And this is the TBL product structure. In the TBL products, what is that? The quantity cannot be nullable. It is mandate. By default, it is null. I want to change it. I want to change the quantity as what? So not nullable. Not nullable. That means we need to add the constant here. So how do we add that? We need what? Alter. So alter table. What is it? TBL products. What we need to do? We need to modify. Modify is the command. Modify, what is the field name? Quantity. And what is its data type? Integer. And what is the constant you want to add? Not null. That's the constant we need to add. That means when I run this and when I describe the structure again, that means describe TBL products. So TBL products, now it is not nullable. Nullable, no. Product ID is not and quantity is also not. Actually, in older version, while modifying the field, you don't need to mention data type. But now it is mandatory to mention data type. That means very old version tutorials, sometimes you may find that people directly modifying a field without mentioning its data type. But to modify any field, even you are not modifying the data type, mentioning data type is mandatory in the new versions, especially from 4 and higher versions. Earlier, before 4, they don't have that, but from 4, currently we are in 9 version. But from 4 and higher version of MySQL, below that version, so we used to directly change the name because data type we are not modifying, just we are adding a constant, just field name and constant is enough, it will take. But now they made this safe modes in such a way that it's mandate. Even your safe mode is off, you cannot modify directly. It is always important to mention the data type. So here one more important is have to define the data type of field every time. So while modifying the structure, you have to modify the data type of field every time while modifying the structure. So syntactically, alter table name and modify field name, data type and constant. You can add multiple fields, you can modify multiple fields simultaneously at the same time. It's not like only one. We can modify multiple fields also. That means, how do you define? So modify, not null. And one more option is here, how to set default. We learned default, na? Default. How do we put default? Default 1. And I'm using modify command. And what is another one is, suppose I want to modify rating. It is an integer. This is also not null. I'm adding multiple here. So default is what? 1. And we want to modify this one also, rating. So default is in the same way, na? Right? So if I use, describe TBL products, and you can see it is showing here. Where is it? Problem akkada. Invalid use of null value. Default equal to 1. What we haven't mentioned. What is the default value? Invalid use of null value now. Where we use it, the null value. Any restriction we given while creating table? For rating, any restriction we given while creating table? Huh? Any restriction we given? No. Acha, one rating is null already there. Huh? One product is already having a null. We will modify it. How do you modify? Update TBL what? Products. TBL products set rating. Set rating is equal to some 2 or 3, where product ID is equal to how much? 6. 6. Okay. We'll modify that. And we will add this now. Now it is okay because already there is some null value inside it. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are executing this because already in the table there is one record which is having a null. First we made that as not null because if there is any null value, it cannot be filled with a value. We have to modify that. So you can modify by using this technique. Now describe what is it? TBL products. Describe TBL products, then it will give the default value as what? 1. Right? So this is also important. That means you can add or modify multiple fields. You can add or modify multiple fields with the different constraints. So we have to just use the command like this. So alter table and table. Multiple fields. Right. So adding the field name, modifying the field name, modifying the data type. Modify is only to change the structure of field. It cannot modify the field name. You cannot modify the field name. So how do you modify the field name? And this is the modifying the field structure. So next important, we have modify the field name. So alter command provides change helper that allows to change the field name. That allows to change the field name. So you have to define the data type for field while changing the name. Data type for field while changing the name. So actually, it is not mandatory in latest versions. In latest version, they made it as an optional. You don't need to mention that. Not required. Earlier issues were there, but now it's not required. You have to just use the name, old name and new name. So here, what is another point is when you are defining, you can set the position of field while defining new name. Position is nothing but we have first or what? After. After changing also you want to keep in the same place or another. We can define. Syntactically alter table name. So we need to define the old name and new name. After or first field name, you have to mention that. Oh, sorry. Here I forgot the change command. This is the not the command. Actually, this is wrong. Table name. Here we have to use what? Change. We have to mention is it change or modify or add. We need to tell that change. And actually, it is not just change. We have to use change column. Old name and new name. So that I forgot that. Okay. So table name, change column, old name and new name. Right. So, and it is first, after, or any field you can define that. Right. So how do we do this? Suppose it is there. I want to change the field name. Suppose QTY, I want to change to quantity, the complete name I want to set. Then what you do? So to do that, we need to use alter table. Table name is TBL products. And what you have to do? Change column. And the old name is what? Quantity. So QTY. And new name is what? Quantity. We need to set the quantity. What else? So quantity is kept where? After price. After where? Price. That's how we need to configure the command. So at its position, Acha, quantity. That's enough. Huh? That means this version is expecting the field name with the data type. Currently, what is my version? Select version. It is 9.0. Latest is 9.2. You install 9.2 is then. Okay, fine. So here data type is mandatory here now. That means I am changing here. I already given that in the sentence, right? That means latest versions, very latest versions, they are not asking, but you have to mention the data type. Data type. Keep an habit of defining the data type. That already I mentioned. You have to define the data type for the field, but the not mandatory in some latest version, but it is still allowing. Not allowing means it is still in implementation. They haven't completely implemented this, right? They announced that, but it is not completely implemented then. That means still we have to follow this technique. We have to mention the data type. So this is, so example like this, we will mention the data type. So this is actually so valid on with few versions, but this is not supported with actually beta versions. It is valid for the new one, but still it is not available. Then we will use the same technique. So another syntax I will give: alter table, table name, change column and the old field. So then old field name, I'll give in a new line. Old field name, new name, data type. So, and first or after field name. Okay. Example is this. These version issues will come in future for you. You need to keep on updating and checking what's new changes they are making. Because actually in beta version they announced that, but we don't have that beta version installed. That means in future releases they allow this, but still it is not there, right? You follow the same old structure for that. This is changing the field name. Modify the field name, and you can modify multiple fields. So at a time you can modify the multiple fields. Next important is remove the field name. Next options, remove field from table. So alter provides drop command to remove the field from table. So, but here one problem is it completely depends on cascade and strict the restrict references defined while creating table. You know the meaning of this, huh? That means can you drop every column? We cannot drop every column. Why? We cannot drop every column because that depends on cascade and restrict reference while defining the foreign key. While defining foreign key, what cascade restrict differences you have defined. So when we use this actually, usually cascade and restrict are defined while configuring foreign key relation between tables. Foreign key relation between tables. So drop column is used to remove any specific column from table. Syntactically alter table name, drop column and column name. So field name. We have to define that. We can drop multiple also. So you can drop multiple columns. Same. Alter table name. So field name. This is drop column name. Again drop column and field name. You can add multiple like this. If there are no relationships configured, then you can do that. If there are relationship defined and relationship already we learned how to configure the foreign key relation in table. There I already showed you what is default foreign key when you configure it. Constant will have an restrict. Okay, so suppose we have suppose we are means here one doubt is that like if there is some data inside table, will it delete the data also? Vendor name, suppose Bajaj something. Vendor rating 4. So vendor city Delhi, something like this. So we have some data also in a table. Is it possible to remove? Suppose I want to remove vendor city. Then what to do? We have to use the command alter table TBL products. So what we have to do? Drop column name vendor city That is the column name. TBL vendors, right? TBL vendors. And this is what we are dropping. And once you run this and you see that is removed from here. That means even the data is present, it is removed. Only the concern is it having any relation with others? If it is having any foreign key relation with others, you cannot. You cannot. And remember that you can do depending on cascade or restrict. So cascade, restrict, null. Three options are there. When you cannot remove, when it is cascade, you can remove. No, you can't remove. When it is cascade, you can remove. What will happen? All relative fields will be removed in other tables. Am I right? So null you can remove. All relative fields will be null. Only restrict you cannot remove. If restrict is defined, then you cannot remove. Only cascade and all we can do, right? That means here, so cascade, restrict are defined while configuring, right? Between tables. Generally depends on cascade, restrict. So you cannot drop a column if it is defined with restrict reference. You cannot drop a column if it is defined with restrict reference. Cascade you can do, null you can do, because they will set the other fields in other tables to null. This is restrict, you can't. Right. This is about how we can modify. Now we have one more option, is how we can modify the constraint like primary key and foreign key. For foreign key, we need a foreign key constant. To remove a foreign key, what we have to do? We need a foreign key constant. Anywhere foreign key is there? No? We haven't created any foreign keys. Earlier we created, here we don't have. We will create a table with a foreign key constant. So we can remove foreign keys, we can remove primary keys. And deleting the data from table, that we'll see tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we will finish all table manipulations. Then we can go for views, stored procedures. We will learn about how to create stored procedures, views and others, right? Then tomorrow we'll continue with that.